Well, again, I want to appreciate everybody for coming and bearing with us with these just a couple technical glitches that we had. But today, what we're going to be doing is talking about growing your business with YouTube and video overall. So, with that, I want to kind of jump in and look at what we can do to obviously grow our business with YouTube and video. So, let's go ahead and kind of get started here. So what we're going to be kind of discussing is not only the growth of video, so pretty much showing us why we should be on YouTube and have video as part of one of our strategies, but then also getting into, okay, now that we have these videos, or once we get those videos, what do we do with them? And what do we, how do we make them work for us with our business, with, again, everything like that. So that's what we're going to kind of go through. We're going to be utilizing YouTube a lot, but I'm going to be reiterating this throughout the presentation, is that the things that we're doing here also apply to some of the other channels, because obviously in today's world, it's not just YouTube. There is, Facebook video, there's Twitter video, there's Instagram video, LinkedIn video. So there's these social media which are very important to obviously have a presence on and to have our video on as well. So that's a super important piece that we want to, again, make sure. So the first thing is understanding, why is video important, and why, as a small business owner, why as a marketer or whatnot, why should we be utilizing video for, for this, and why should we be utilizing it for our marketing, and how can it kind of help? And the reason are, honestly, a lot of these stats, that it's over 2 billion unique users visit YouTube each month. So that's 2 billion actual people visiting YouTube each month. We also have 68% of consumers that say watching a video helps them more confident in online purchase decisions. So you're strengthening that sales cycle. You're strengthening that user's potential to again, hire you to again, do whatever you do. If that's selling a product, if that's selling a service, whatever it may be. And even going beyond that, then, is we have 46% have purchased directly due to watching a video. So there was a study done, and again, 46% of people actually purchased directly due just to watching a single video, and they were ready to make a purchase. And this is probably one of the biggest ones too, is 66% of people, so 2/3 of people, prefer watching a video to actually reading about a product or service online. And so we spend all this time, again, with content, with creating websites and things like that, but yet, we have the 66% of people watching a video again, and prefer watching it over looking on to your site. So super powerful information there. Also knowing that the average user spends about 88% more time on a website that has video than one that does not. So even if we want to go after people that may not want to watch our videos, and maybe it's 1/3 that prefer reading, well, still the studies show that 88% will be spent more time on your site if we have that video, capturing them there, intriguing them more, and things like that. And so this is why it's so important, and why we want to make sure that we have video at our disposal and part of our marketing repertoire. So really, we're not going to go super in depth on how to create video, but what's great about it is there are tons of different types of ways that you can create video. So again, the different types of again, production that we can look at is, one is the professional video crew, hiring a videographer that can go out and make again, one of these videos. It could be one of those commercial style videos, it could just be testimonial videos, really any type of style video. But obviously we're dealing with a professional that can come in with the exact lighting, will help you with scripts, help you with those things, and it can be super beneficial to have that. Now, I know we may not be able to always hire a videographer or have that as maybe as frequently as we would like. And I think that's the other thing to remember too, is we have these other opportunities to be able to create videos to supplement that kind of gap if we're not being able to utilize a videographer for whatever reason that may be. So the first one is, for instance, kind of a point of view type of, again, taking our mobile device and either kind of talking into it, or potentially even showing people kind of behind the scenes or whatever it may be, but really kind of using our mobile device as an actual video as well. Like for instance, we've been working with a lot of our clients right now, where like the CEO or the head of the company is doing, a quick video to talk about COVID-19 and how their company is to kind of add, obviously a video to their marketing strategy, but also to kind of humanize it and have that owner of the business, CEO, leader really kind of talk to their users. So again, a mobile device can be super powerful, and you can create some nice videos, again, with that device. Also a webcam, honestly, kind of what we're doing here. We're recording this so that we can make a video to be used at a later point so that people can kind of come back and learn from this. And that's something that, is super important and can be utilized, again, for people. So, a laptop, again, or desktop kind of webcam type of video like this, potentially even another one that we've worked with clients on where you actually set a couple people up into a Zoom call or a video conference call, and we're actually talking, again, about something, and so you're kind of going back and discussing. Maybe it's one of your blog topics. Maybe it's again just a topic around the world, whatever it may be. And then, another one too that you can also look at is kind of infographic or kind of the animation type of videos. So you can look at, again, stock video. There's a program called Promo Video. There's Powtoons, iMovie. There's a bunch of different platforms out there that have templates that you can essentially kind of utilize, and with some, minor customization, you can have your own video out there, that you didn't have to be on, again, camera. You potentially didn't even have to do sound or voiceover, and now you've actually created a piece of content for whatever that may be. And that's the other thing, kind of leading to the next one, is thinking of the different styles of videos that you can do. So the one is kind of like your commercial or services, your value prop. What does your company, what does your service, what does your product, what does that again specific topic that you're talking about, how does that value and solve a solution for somebody? Also, I kind of alluded to this one, behind the scenes. If we're in manufacturing, we can show how again, a machine or how a product is made. We can also, if we're in any type of business, we can show the people behind the scenes. And so it's kind of being creative and showing the different types of videos that you can kind of think of. Another one that we a lot of times start with clients on is taking one of your currently already created blogs and, hey, let's just, again, let's create a video about that. If that is an infographic, if that's a POV, if that's a webcam, whatever it may be. But what we're going to do is we're going to essentially take that content that we've already created and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. We can also do informational or resource videos. So kind of, again, we could do one about obviously the world, again, situation with COVID-19. Maybe we're creating a video like that, and depending on different production type or whatever it may be. And then last but not least, another kind of type one you can do is if you have maybe a big announcement, if maybe you've hired someone, you have a big event coming out, you're coming up with a new product, whatever it may be. But the idea is that we can create videos in different ways. Traditional and kind of what a lot of times people think of is videographer, but we can also create some in-house, and then we can also create different styles of videos there too, and utilize current things like blogs or websites or web pages that we already have, and pretty much just take those words and let's start using that as a topic. And another thing to kind of remember, you can kind of see that at the bottom, is when in doubt, essentially always use landscape unless you're doing essentially kind of a social media live video. So make sure you're turning your phone. Even if you're doing POV on a mobile, and especially when you're using a mobile device, obviously, is to make sure that we're turning that device over and we're having landscape. It's definitely going to look better. It's going to perform better when it's on YouTube, when it's on social media, if this is a long-term type of video. So always just a kind of a nice little kind of reminder about that. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of, okay, now that we have these videos created, which again, I know is going to take some time and take some thought and things like that, but once we get those videos created, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at, now how do we distribute them? And so with that is, the first one is we're going to look at is YouTube. And so, we're going to use YouTube to distribute our videos, and we're going to also talk about some social media platforms later on that can also help distribute our videos. But the reason we want to talk about YouTube first is that it's the second largest search engine in the world. It's owned by Google, and so Google has the first, platform, most popular search platform in Google, and now they have the number two in YouTube. And so it's a super powerful, again, type of platform to get your videos out there and to also help you with search engine optimization to have your website actually perform better and potentially even rank better because of it. So one thing I like to kind of to know people is where are we going to be kind of dealing with when it comes to YouTube. And so it's really important to kind of know that when you get onto YouTube, the left-hand side is a lot of kind of like your personal kind of user experience. So this is going to be kind of your watch history, your purchases, your later, your lists, your subscriptions, all that kind of fun stuff. But for a business, we're going to be looking on the right-hand side and going down on the drop down. And the only reason I like to kind of bring this up is you just want to make sure when you're uploading videos, when you're creating videos and all of this type of stuff, that you are doing it in your own channel. It's very easy to have multiple channels. You may already have those because maybe you created a business channel, maybe it was years ago, months ago, and maybe you have your personal one that you didn't even know was there. And so just knowing that, I always like to kind of say this as a caveat, is that there is no way to transfer a video from one channel to another. And so you would have to like delete that and re-upload it. But the problem is if you don't catch that soon enough, you'd be losing all of those stats and analytics that kind of come with that. So that can be a super, disappointing thing. So just make sure, very simple, but very simple to sometimes forget. Just make sure that we are, looking up here in the right-hand corner and we're able to, make sure that we're on the right channel. So uploading videos, and this can sometimes, again, throw people a little bit because YouTube has kind of changed this, but the main way to do this is right where we were at before, kind of up in this area, is you'll see this little icon up there, and you'll see a little bit more blown up here, is if we click that, we can essentially upload our video or videos. And so that's where you're going to be able to do that. So a couple things to know, that if you're going to be using, if you're going to be editing your videos and they still need some work done, then you're going to want to use YouTube Studio to complete the editing of your video. And I'll get into what that kind of means, and we're going to go through the entire new YouTube Studio. But if you have a video and it's all set to go, you don't need any type of trimming, blurring, audio, all this other kind of fun stuff, which again, we'll get into, you can just use the new uploader. And a lot of these things are actually new and standard new as of February. So very new with this new YouTube kind of studio out there. For about the past year and a half or so, YouTube has been kind of going back and forth and beta testing their new YouTube studio compared to the classic studio that had this kind of stuff. But the reason I bring this up is when you try to upload a video, you're going to have a lot of information that you can put in. So if there's nothing that needs to be done to the actual video, you can just do it via that screen. But if there's more things that are going to need to be done with it from an editing standpoint, then the idea is just to kind of quickly whip through step 1, 2, and 3 just to get it up there. And then I'll show you how to kind of come back to it and we can make those edits for it. Also, if you've been paying attention to YouTube, or if you've been uploading YouTube videos recently over the past 3-4 months, you're most likely going to notice that there's been a lot of language about, is this video made for kids or is this kid friendly? And so the reason for that is because of a lot of the different privacy policies and what YouTube's trying to do, because they have their own program called YouTube for Kids. And so YouTube Kids is obviously, again, video content that's just specifically made for kids. And so here's kind of the thing that sometimes throws people is if it says if your video was made for kids, it's not saying that if your video, again, could a kid watch this and not be offended? It's saying, was this video specifically made for kids? And so I'm assuming most of us here, it's going to be no. And again, that doesn't, there's nothing wrong with that. Google's just trying to make sure that it goes through another filter of making sure that adult content or content that's not made for kids doesn't get onto YouTube Kids. And so just knowing that, again, knowing that that's out there, and you're most likely going to see notices, you're going to see a lot of verbiage around that, but most likely all of us will be clicking no for that. Also, looking at there is an opportunity to kind of switch over to the classic uploader. The only reason I actually mention this is that if you want to upload multiple files and of videos at the same time, you're going to want to use the classic uploader. The new one right now just doesn't work very well and doesn't really work when you're trying to upload multiple videos. So that's the reason I kind of mentioned that there, and you would actually see that right up here when you put your when you say, hey, you want to upload a video, there's actually a box here where you can actually switch over to the classic uploader. So this is how we're going to upload videos. So we've created the video. Now we've uploaded the video. Now the fun starts to happen with editing that video and making that video work for us as much as possible with the internal system of YouTube. So when we get into YouTube and we kind of have the YouTube studio, is that, again, we're going to get kind of a screen that looks like this. This is where we're able to kind of do whatever we want. And so the idea here is we can easily navigate to all of our videos. We can easily navigate to the channel settings. If you see analytics here, this is analytics on our entire channel. And like I mentioned again, there's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which you may see a notice here over the next several months when you log into your YouTube studio. And you can also find this in your channel settings. So this is just quickly the overview, just like to tell people that you can pretty much access everything here. And once we go to our YouTube studio, once we've uploaded our videos, this is essentially what we're going to be able to kind of do and then navigate to where we want to go. Now, before we do that, though, is everyone should be, again, at least checking this once. This is one of those things that, if probably just needs to be done once, but should be done correctly. And so, and there are some new things here that YouTube has introduced via the YouTube Studio. So the first one is just kind of your general settings. A lot of times that's just, there's only one or two things there. It's mainly just going to be dealing with where you located, United States, stuff like that. But where, you want to spend some time is in your channel settings. And there are 4 different types of settings within the channel settings that we can kind of look at. The first is basic, then we have advanced, branding, and feature eligibility. The 2 ones that you really want to focus on are going to be the basic and advanced ones, just to make sure that we have everything there. So the first one with basic, this is where we're actually going to say all of like the keywords associated with our channel. And if you've had videos previously, Google actually, if you go into this screen, you'll most likely actually see keywords already there. And those are ones that Google actually gleaned from your videos and your channel and plopped right in there. We can also, again, assign different types of settings. And, again, within advanced, if we want to try and monetize our accounts, if we want to branding, we can actually add a watermark to our videos. Feature eligibility is another good one. If you want to, again, be approved for monetization, if you want to make sure that your account is in good standing, we can go to the feature eligibility. And the feature eligibility one also is one as Google starts to add new features to YouTube. This is where we actually see if we're able to be, if we're green, again, lit for them, or if we have to go through an approval process. But I will say the main focus of what you're going to be looking at is going to be kind of the basic and the advanced, again, for those. But some really good information. You really want to try and give Google as much information as possible. Like, for instance, when it asks for keywords, making sure that your channel name is correct, the information about your business and things like that. You want to make sure you fill in that as much as possible. But once it's set, it's essentially set. And then there are some other ones on there that you can also look at too. We have upload defaults. So if you're uploading a lot of the same type of videos, you can actually set some of these defaults so you don't have to keep doing them every time you upload a video. Permissions, this is kind of for your comments, or if you ever do a kind of a live chat and things like that, as well as community. You can actually check, different users, and you can potentially, if you need to block users or things like that. Those ones aren't utilized as much, but it is important to know that they're there. But I do want to make sure that everyone takes the time when you walk away and when you have your YouTube channel that we actually look at the, again, channel settings and take some time for that. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have, again, created the videos, now we've uploaded the videos, and we've accessed our YouTube Studio, the idea now is to kind of go to the YouTube Studio Video Manager. And that is just done right on the left-hand side. I'm actually going to go back a couple slides right here. And just right here where it says videos, we simply click on that and we get a list of all of our videos here. And this is what I was talking about before, is that, if you didn't need to do anything to your video, from an editing standpoint, all of your stuff should be here and set to go as you uploaded it. But if you need to actually go and edit the video, or maybe you want to double check some of that information, this is where we're going to go. So we're simply just going to go to the video manager and we're going to click on our video. When we click on our video, we essentially get to a screen that's going to look similar to this. So every video when you open it now, and again, this is actually a big change from what the Creator Studio used to look like. This is now the YouTube Studio, and this is essentially kind of the change, and it just looks and functions a lot different than it used to be. So now there are 5 different things that we can do for each video. One is details, which is actually where we're going to be spending most of our time. Number 2 is analytics, and this is just for the video itself. When I talked about analytics previously, it was actually about your entire channel. This is just going to be for your video. Number 3 is the editor. I kind of alluded to that before. This is where we can actually make a ton of different edits to our video, which we're going to go through. Comments. So this is essentially going to be, if you get any comments to your video, you're going to be able to very easily kind of go through them and answer them, potentially, again, get rid of them if they're inappropriate, things like that, but you're able to manage all of your comments. This is very similar to how Google does Google My Business with reviews. It's very similar kind of there, where it's going to show you the ones that you haven't responded to, going to show you a little bit of them just kind of in a graph format that you can easily access them. And then last but not least is going to be subtitles or closed captioning, and where we can actually upload those files so that we can actually have subtitles and closed captioning. And again, we'll kind of get into that as well, and why actually you should have subtitles and closed captioning, why that's important. So the first screen, though, that we're going to be paying attention to, though, is going to be details. This used to essentially be called info and settings on the Creator Studio, but now, again, with the new YouTube Studio branding and just the new product in general, it's called details. And so the important thing here is, again, you may have already done this when you uploaded your video, but it's important to kind of come back and check this. Or and the other kind of beauty about this is, if you currently have YouTube videos sitting on your YouTube channel, you've never done this, the beauty of it is you can go back anytime to any video and change this. So I'm saying you could go back to videos that you put on YouTube 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe 2 months ago, whatever it is, and you can actually go ahead and make sure that these are optimized and changed, again, at will. So the first thing is looking at your title. So the thing to know is that you have 100 characters to, again, create a title. So try to use as many of those characters as possible, and we want to make sure that we have, again, a keyword-laden title. So meaning that we're going to try and put some keywords in there. And so what I usually like to recommend is splitting your keyword title into 3 different pieces. The first is a description or a phrase of what this video is about. So obviously that's going to be different. It could be the question that you're asking in your blog, could be the service that you're talking about, could be the announcement. It's going to be essentially just the phrase or the quick description of what that video is about, just like anything that we would see on a title. Now, obviously, the more keywords we can put in there while it still looks natural is going to be the best, but we want to make sure that we have that description first. Then we want to look at trying to attach a location. Now, a location could, again, be a city, could be a state, could be a country, whatever it may be. And also, if you are potentially worldwide or nationwide and don't want to put a location, that's completely fine too. But especially for local businesses, when you're targeting local, it's really, again, it can be really beneficial to you to actually add in those locations for that. And you can also play around with this with some of your videos, where maybe one of your videos has Minneapolis, one of your videos just has Minnesota, one has St. Paul, whatever it may be, maybe Twin Cities. Obviously talking about here in Minnesota in the kind of local market, kind of looking at if we're targeting that. And then last but not least, we want to be making sure that we have our company name in there as well. So it would be, again, just at the very end, kind of, again, having your company name in that as well. Then we kind of get into the keyword laden description. So this is the huge character that you can kind of see there, and Google gives you a ton of space to do stuff with. You have about 5,000 characters that you can look to utilize. And we also want to split this into three different pieces. So the three different pieces here are, the first is, I always like to kind of start with a call to action, because when a video is playing on YouTube, it's only going to essentially show the first, about 3 lines of text. It kind of depends on how you have it formatted, but it's essentially going to show you about the first 3 lines of a description before it says read more. So I always like to have clients start out with kind of a call to action, and we can essentially kind of have the URL associated with that. So something as simple as, find out more about Skol marketing at, and then we have the URL. Now, the key with the URL, though, is it has to be what we kind of call the ugly URL, meaning it has to have that HTTP www, skolmarketing.com. You have to put the entire thing. If you just type skolmarketing.com, it's going to show up as text, but it's not going to be a hyperlink. So you have to put in the ugly URL, and usually I just tell people, open up your site in a different browser, simply copy that and just paste it into there. When you do that, that actually creates it as a hyperlink, and now that's a backlink to your site, which helps with SEO. And then also helps with marketing, because again, it gives those people a call to action on being able to, again, do something with your video. So really, we'd like to kind of start with that call to action in that URL, and then it gets into a description of your video. So looking at, again, as much as you can kind of describe about your video, it could be a short paragraph, could be a long paragraph, could be several paragraphs. We have 5,000 characters that we can take advantage of. So look to, again, expand upon that. Look to describe what that video is, go in more in depth. And obviously, if you have a 30-second video, you probably can't cover everything. So why don't we put a little bit more of that information into the description? And then finally, I always like to have clients upload a boilerplate kind of description of what your company is. So this will be on every single video, and it just essentially is a quick recap. This could be, I always like to say this could be like the short description you use on Facebook to describe, in your about section. Could be, again, one that you've created for something else if you need a short bio. But it's essentially just a boilerplate mini description of what your company does, and we put that at the end of every single video. So at the end of this, we've got a, again, keyword laden title that's split into 3 different pieces. And then we've got a keyword laden description that's also split into 3 different pieces. And then the other things to kind of look at too that we can kind of add is we can go into the actual thumbnail, so the image that's actually going to show up. And so if you're familiar with YouTube, you get 3 kind of predetermined ones, and if you don't like one of those, you can actually upload a custom one. So you can create one offline, you can take a screenshot of your current video and upload that one. Now if you don't see the custom thumbnail, this would be something that you'd want to go back into your channel settings and see the eligibility, the feature eligibility section, and to make sure you have that feature enabled. And it may be that you just have to get a text with a code from YouTube and you're all set. Maybe something wrong with your account or whatnot. But most of us should see this. But if you don't, again, going back to those channel settings can really kind of help. And then last but not least is the tags. So this is where, very similar on our channel settings, where we set all those tags about what our channel would be about, different keywords, key phrases, everything there. Well, now we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to do them about our video. So all the different keywords or key phrases that you can think of that you would, begin to describe this video with, we're just going to put all of those in here. The idea here is that the more information that we can give Google, the better our videos are going to be. The better, again, optimized they're going to be. And also the better information they're going to be able to have for our users, because sometimes the users use some of this information depending on what it may be. Also, there is a section within the details that is more options. And this is where we can actually upload, again, our subtitles. We can actually look at if you want to start to categorize your videos, if it's a product or service, if it's in the arts and entertainment industry, whatever it may be. Also, this is where we can designate if this content is appropriate for children or not. So the more options is another good thing to kind of look at, but really your the basic information is going to be the main thing you want to focus on, and it's going to be, again, definitely the more valuable one. But knowing that, again, make sure that you go through every section and we try and fill out as much as possible, again, for every single video, and we're giving Google and we're giving our video as much attention as possible. So now the one that's really changed everything. So this is the one that has really, again, when YouTube Studio came out, this is what essentially has kind of changed. Yes, some of the other kind of the details, it renamed it from info and settings and moved some things around, but the editor is the huge thing that really kind of changed. So what YouTube used to have is all of these kind of components that you see here were kind of separated into different tabs. They've now done it where under the video editor, we can kind of do all of these, and this is kind of the central point of this. So you can kind of see that it puts puts your video here and kind of puts the timeline of your video, and we're able to kind of then do the four main things that we're able to edit with a video right now is we're able to trim. So obviously trimming and editing and cropping, those types of things, super useful, super beneficial. Blurring, being able to actually go in to your video, and this is super important, especially if you're doing maybe videos yourself and not maybe realizing some of this, but if you're videoing people that you don't have consent for or don't know who they are, or for instance, if you're out and about and there are home addresses or license plates out there, it's probably a good idea to use the blur tool and to make sure that we're blurring out those, just to make sure that we're protecting those and nothing happens to, again, you with that as well. So, trim and blur are super powerful tools, honestly, pretty simple tools, but just even doing some of that can really elevate the production value. And that's really what we're getting here with the editor, is it's amazing that we can take this video that we created and we can add this production value to it that we may not have had before. So that's where when we took, maybe the video from our, again, just from our phone or from our laptop, we can now do some things to it to really kind of elevate the production value. And also the rumor is, and it's true, is, that Google and YouTube are coming out with more and more features. So there's going to be more and more editing tools and features and things like that as YouTube Studio starts to kind of hum along here. Like I said, it really just became, again, just launched fully in February. So it's fairly new. Yes, it did go through beta, but they've got a lot of the basics here, and now they're going to be adding to it. So obviously kind of keep an eye on that for some of the other tools that we're able to essentially kind of do. So the first big one, though, that we're able to kind of do within YouTube Studio, which I love, is the audio one. And again, this is really helpful if you are taking your own videos and you're trying to edit them or trying to make them better. And so what you can do is, well, one is you can lay in your own tracks. So maybe if you have your own voiceover that you want to add on to it, or maybe there's your own music, whatever it may be, you can do that. But for most people, what's going to probably be very useful is that YouTube has a library of over 150,000 different jingles and songs and sounds that you can essentially put into your video. And so not only are all of these copyright free, so you don't have to worry about it, but what's really kind of cool is you can position them wherever on the video that you would like, and you can kind of see that down here with this, it kind of lays out all your sound, and then you can lay in and layer in your different types of music, or you can also kind of fade it in and out. So at the beginning, you can kind of fade it away. At the end, you can kind of fade it up, however it is, but you get to actually edit all of that and be able to kind of do it. Like, I'll give you an example. We work with a client that does Christmas light decoration, and he always goes out with his phone and again takes video of all of his workers kind of putting up the lights, and then obviously the lighting displays once those lights are up on the big trees and big houses and different buildings around the Twin Cities. Well, a lot of times when he does those videos, there's obviously background noise, there's car noises, there's people talking, there's dogs barking, whatever it may be, something that really takes away from the production value of the video and distracts when viewers are there. So what we're able to do then is we're able to simply put these videos into YouTube, strip out the audio, video and put on kind of like a Christmas jingle. And now we've got a much higher production quality type of video just by simply kind of editing the sound, because the sound wasn't necessarily needed because there was no, again, voice on there. So again, audio can be super valuable to you to not only, potentially upload your own voiceovers or your own, again, recordings, but also to potentially utilize YouTube Studio's kind of library of videos there and to kind of up your production value. And I should mention too is you can add multiple ones if you'd like. So you can have different jingles on a song, and that's where that positioning kind of comes into play. Another one that's really kind of cool too is that we can add an end screen. So it's obviously going to be towards the end of your video. And what we're able to do is they have a bunch of different templates that you can actually pick from that either have multiple of different things that somebody can kind of click on, or you can just do kind of one of these. And so you can kind of see the screenshot here is that it's pretty easy. We click the end screen and we can kind of do the template. It's going to walk you through on what you want to put into there. So maybe you just want to suggest a single video at the end of your video. Maybe you want to list, suggest a playlist of videos that you have on your channel for this, again, the user that's reading this. Also, maybe you want to ask, and probably all should be asking people to subscribe to our video, our video channel and our YouTube channel to make sure that we can kind of keep them there. Almost, it's pretty much just like having like a follower on social media. We want to make sure that they're subscribing to our channel, and we can kind of do that with end screen as just a quick little notification. Also, we can direct them to a channel, or we can actually set up a link. Now, just so you guys know, just a little thing about like the link is, in order to actually have the link work, you actually have to go through an approval process, and it's called the YouTube Partner Program. And some people won't be eligible and some will. But if you want to have links that someone will be able to click and go off site, you would have to go through that approval process and kind of see if you're eligible for that or not. But obviously, again, you can kind of look at that. But if you're not able to, obviously still a lot of cool things that we can add to the video and be able to kind of do here. So end screens are super valuable because at the end of the video, it's essentially giving that user kind of a call to action or kind of a next step on what they can do with your brand. And you're kind of, leading them down that path of what you want them to do. So the next is going to be subtitles and closed captioning. So this one's a little kind of funny because if you click on the closed captioning button on the side, it actually just shows you the closed captionings that are there and not actually how to upload them, which is, again, a little kind of funny. But how you can actually upload your own subtitles and closed captioning is if you go back to the details screen and then click more options. When you click more options, you can actually see down here that there is an upload subtitles /CC button, and we're able to actually upload that. So a couple reasons that we want to look at subtitles and closed captioning. One is it definitely helps users, again, with disabilities, or also people that, are not in a place to actually have the sound, being able to be played, or maybe they don't prefer it. And we actually have that. It's really important to try to have videos that sound isn't necessarily required, meaning that if you have sound in there, like obviously people talking, yes, we have that, but that's why we should also have subtitles. Someone should always be able to get the message from your video, no matter if they have the sound on or off. The sound should obviously enhance that experience, but it should not be needed. And that's why we really want to look at subtitles and closed captioning as a way to kind of be able to do that, not only help our users, but this actually even helps you. There is an SEO benefit within kind of your video if we do closed captioning and subtitles. What it does is it allows Google to not only trust your video more, it allows Google to essentially, understand more of what that video is, because now Google's essentially being able to see from you verifying it that all of these words are actually in there. Because Google will automatically on almost all videos have closed captioning for those, but they're essentially guessing and they're using their own technology, which definitely again isn't perfect. It's better than nothing, but it is worth the time for you, not only for the user, but also to give your video a better opportunity to potentially rank better by actually uploading your own subtitles and closed captioning. So what you can do here is, YouTube has a couple different ways that you can upload these. One is if you're working with a videographer, most likely you actually already have it, again, kind of subtitles or closed caption your script, you can simply upload that way. They also have a way that you can actually start, you can watch your video and do your own subtitles and closed captioning. Or another way that I also kind of look to recommend that you can try out is utilizing a source like Fiverr.com, where you can actually go and get someone to look at your video and simply do it, and it may cost you maybe 5, 10, 15 bucks to have them go through your video and just simply kind of type out a script for your subtitles and closed captioning. Can be super beneficial and obviously well worth the money if you don't want to, again, do that, or if you're not working with a videographer. So again, getting it from your videographer, doing it yourself, or hiring someone like on Fiverr.com that can actually get these, but taking the time to actually do the subtitles and closed captioning and then taking them and uploading them here is highly recommended and will have a lot of benefit, not only for your users, but also your video internally with YouTube. Another thing that you can also do with YouTube, and they've made a lot of advances with this over the past couple years, is YouTube Live. So again, I'm sure we're all familiar with, again, Facebook Live and, Instagram TV and Instagram Live, again, going live on those different platforms. We can do the same thing with YouTube. Now, one of the differences with YouTube is that, you can plug it into a lot of different types of, devices, and be able to, it can sometimes be a little bit easier to kind of get that video and kind of distribute it. And so the other kind of cool thing too is you can have a chat feature, you can schedule these, you can time these out, you can promote them. Very similar, honestly, to other live platforms, but it can tend to be sometimes a little bit more of a stable kind of one to kind of plan around and to do things like that. We work with a couple clients that do their conferences, their yearly conferences via YouTube Live, and it's crazy to see the amount of engagement that they get. And then after a live video, it's really kind of cool because it turns it into just a regular YouTube video and plops it right onto your YouTube channel. So you don't have to do anything there. You can obviously go back and edit it if you need to, which is also another kind of cool thing, but you don't have to worry about with downloading, uploading. It's always right there. It's not going to get lost. It's always going to be on your YouTube channel. You can obviously look to promote it or to do whatever you want. But I highly recommend, if you're looking to do a kind of a broadcast of some sort, to really look at YouTube Live. It's a, again, it's a great platform, and it's only getting better. So we've been talking about, video and obviously the importance of it for marketing, but one really good, again, way that you can benefit yourself from video is search engine optimization. It's, people ask me, hey, Ben, what's the number one thing you recommend now for, again, SEO and those kind of things? And then the answer is video. It's around content, not only because of all those stats that we read at the beginning, that it helps with marketing, but Google also uses those stats and obviously uses that within their algorithm. If they know that people like to spend time on websites that have videos, they're going to, again, put that into the algorithm. If they know that people like watching videos in general, they're going to put that into the algorithm. So it behooves you to, again, create the, YouTube videos and just create video content in general to be able to obviously capitalize on that, not only potentially even go to another market that, again, people that like to view videos and make decisions that way, but also to help your website and just your natural web presence actually increase and benefit from it as well. And so another kind of cool thing that I always like to kind of look at too is that videos are essentially the only type of media that will show up within Google search that actually has a thumbnail, which you can all see kind of our eye goes directly to that thumbnail when we're looking at this page, even though it's not number one. And so the idea here is that it can be super valuable, to you from a marketing, a psychological standpoint, whatnot, to have, again, videos there, because when people are looking for your products, your services, a solution that your video would essentially solve, we have the opportunity now to have our video show up there, and the eyeballs kind of go to that, that thumbnail. Also, it's another kind of thing to look at when we're looking at SEO. It's another opportunity for you to take a spot away from a competitor to have on a search result. So hypothetically, you could actually maybe have a Google ad You could have just an organic search result for your website. You could have the Google My Business, the map location, and you could have potentially like a video all showing up there. And obviously, the more you're showing up, not only gives you a better opportunity to, have someone engage with your website or whatever you're having them doing. If it's your video, really engage more with your brand. But it also then is a really good competitive advantage because now you're taking that a spot away from somebody else and being able to, again, have more placements on a search result. So again, video has a huge impact on SEO. And if you're looking, hey Ben, how do I grow my SEO? How do I, improve my rankings? How do I improve my web presence? Really, again, look at video, and that's really one of the first places you should really look if you're looking to really, engage with that and increase your web presence. So, last but not least, as we're starting to kind of wrap up YouTube and kind of starting to shift a little bit more into social media now that we have all these videos on there, is I just like to kind of show a couple things with YouTube analytics. Knowing that this one here is, again, remember, you can look at your channel analytics and your video analytics. So it's kind of nice to obviously be able to see, every video as a channel, what that looks like, as well as kind of delve into each individual video and see what that would look like as well. So the one that I always like to kind of point out is, the other ones kind of most likely make sense, but the one that I love to have people kind of pay attention to and to look at is this retention. What retention shows you is that obviously when everybody hits play, 1 second into it, there's 100% of people still watching it. But what happens 26 seconds into it? What happens a minute 11 seconds into it? What happens 2 minutes into it? Again, we really get to kind of see that retention rate. And be able to kind of, again, look at, and see who's actually, still viewing that video. This may, again, show you that if our call to action in this video is at a certain place, maybe we need to modify that. Maybe we need to make our video shorter. Maybe we need to make them longer. Also, it's important to realize, again, what we're making our videos for. Knowing that, again, like if we're doing a commercial kind of style kind of video, usually those tend to be smaller. But if you're doing a how-to video or a blog video where you're talking about a subject, those most likely are going to be longer because it takes some time to talk about that subject. So it does depend on what, again, type of video you're, and what topic you're on. But this is a really good way to kind of see what percentage of those people are still viewing that at whatever, again, increment you're looking at and whatever time lapse on your video is. So it's a really important one, as not only as you get your videos up and have them helping you for marketing, having you help them for SEO, but also to really kind of look at, to really kind of start to put that ROI or that value to knowing how many people are actually engaging with that or the value of that. So super important to really kind of look at that. And obviously all the analytics are important, but that one's for sure my favorite. And that's one that you should really pay attention to. Okay, now looking to kind of wrap this up before, again, I would love to open this up for more questions and we can kind of dive into anything that you guys have had questions on or potentially that's more pertaining to you guys. But the idea here is, okay, so now we created these videos at the beginning, we uploaded them to YouTube, and again, and we've got them fully optimized. Now what we want to do is within YouTube, you can actually, it saves a copy of all of your videos, almost like a Google Drive or, any type of those cloud storage systems. And what you're able to do then is download a copy of that. So what you want to do is you actually want to shy away from just sharing your YouTube link onto social media. Now you can, but the reason I say you want to shy away from that is because since Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter have their own video platforms, they want you to essentially upload the raw video file, so that MP4, that MOV file that you have. And so a lot of times what I recommend people to do is to get everything edited, get everything optimized fully with the video and have it be on YouTube, and then download a copy of that so you have the raw, the file, and then go to Facebook and actually upload that file to Facebook and create a post and create it, again, a piece of content around that. Go to Instagram and do the same thing. Same thing with LinkedIn, same thing with Twitter. So if you have all 4 platforms, yes, you're going to essentially at the end of the day be uploading this video file 5 different times because you got it to YouTube first, and then you're downloading it, and then we're putting it onto Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. But this is going to give you the best results and give you the best reach. Because the other thing too is when it comes to social media video, is for an SEO value, it's for sure going to be YouTube. Again, since Google owns YouTube, it's really kind of connected to search, engines and all that kind of stuff. Whereas on social media, it's mainly going to be more for the marketing value. We're going to see a much better marketing value than we are in SEO, just the way that those platforms are connected. Also, when we start to look at the instant value versus the long-term value, is that social media, you're going to see a much bigger instant value because just the way that, obviously social media works is it's newer content, it's what's new, what's right in my face, what people are posting. And when you push out that video on Facebook or LinkedIn, it's going to, again, grow really quickly, again, to kind of be up there, and then it's going to kind of come down. And so it's, again, just like anything, like we don't see posts that were posted 3 months ago from one of our friends. It's all kind of the new content. And so that's where we want to push those out there and get as much, again, value and views and engagements and likes and shares right away, because no matter what we do, it's going to peter off. Whereas on YouTube, it's most likely, and a lot of times it's the reverse of that. And where you're going to kind of do it, and it's going to build up over time and have that value over time, because your YouTube channel is set there where people can kind of keep coming back to things. It's not going to get lost. It's again, like it's meant to have a library of videos. Whereas yes, that's a feature on Facebook and again and really kind of mainly Facebook, Instagram, a little bit too, and then LinkedIn and Twitter, depending on how you kind of set these platforms up. But they're really not meant to necessarily be a library. They're meant for like the new content. So that's where we kind of mix both of those together, where YouTube's over here and social media is over here, and we kind of bridge those together to get both the SEO and marketing effect, as well as the instant and long-term effect as well. I also like to kind of mention too, is that, obviously we're talking about the regular social media videos here. You can also do a live video on a lot of platforms now as well. And you can be able to obviously create videos that way. That may be beneficial to you. That may be, again, what you're looking to, again, kind of do for that quick, if it's a quick announcement or whatever it may be. But also try to obviously download that video and use that also across platforms. So what I mean by that is if you do a Facebook Live video, try and download that, and maybe you even want to do some editing with it on YouTube and then redistribute it to, Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it may be. But the idea is that, absolutely you can do the live, again, videos on Facebook, Instagram, and social media platforms. Because obviously they'll try and help you push that out. But if you're looking more for like that long-term type of video and kind of the video styles that we were talking about previously, most likely, again, recording it, then editing it with YouTube, downloading that, and then putting it to these other social media sites are going to really kind of give you the best ROI, return on your investment, for all of your resources, meaning time, energy, and money on what we're able to kind of do. So the idea here is that, when we look at getting all of this video content, we've created all of it, we've put it on YouTube, we've put it on social media, is it's really looking at kind of the value of this. So, the your website should definitely be a hub and almost like a sub library from your YouTube channel to kind of host these. And it's not only going to help with SEO, it's going to be super informational. We saw that stat at the beginning of the presentation that 88%, or again, there's going to be 88% more time spent on your site if we have videos. Helps with our reputation that we're doing more content. We have pictures, we have words, we have videos on our website. Also helps with our branding. Social media, it really increases our engagement. Allows people to be able to talk and share and comment and engage with it, unlike any other platform. Unlike websites or email. Also really helps with our branding to be able to kind of visually get that out there and have that replayed a lot of times and connected to our social media. Also using these videos within kind of email, really good call to actions, or, again, really good email marketing is really targeted towards, again, certain demographics, and really has a meaning and a message of what we want them to do, and can be really powerful. And video can really kind of help with that. And that may be, again, a link on the video to the video, or excuse me, a link on the email to the video. You're not going to just, I always like to kind of clear this up, is you're not going to necessarily embed the video in your email, but we can put a screenshot of it and have a click here now and they can watch it. And it can just kind of help with that either information or that call to action that we're kind of looking to essentially do. So with that said, again, want to kind of wrap it up here and kind of, we talked about the growth of video and all the stats. We talked about navigating YouTube and really uploading and implementing all of YouTube and really kind of all it has to offer, the impact on SEO, looking at analytics, how social media kind of plays into this. And what I'd love to kind of do is, if you guys have questions, would love to have them, essentially, you guys can type them in or you guys can kind of speak them, and I'd love to kind of be able to address them. Okay, so I have one question from Tammy that says, with Facebook Live, you can schedule ahead. Do you turn them then as well? Tammy, can you just clarify that for a second? Oh, do you turn the screen as well? Yeah, I mean, you can do either. So, with Facebook Live, again, yes, you can schedule ahead and you can turn the screen. You can do it obviously to you, or you can do it, again, outward and, again, turn the screen around as well. So it kind of depends on the production style of video that you're going to be going for. So we've got a bunch of questions coming here, which is great. Keep them coming, guys, and I'll just kind of read them and take them on one by one. So I got one question from Dan that says, I've seen YouTube sites with a large number of videos and the videos are grouped. How can that be done? Fantastic question. So on YouTube, you essentially group them by creating playlists, and you can create your own playlists that just have your own videos, but you can also create playlists, which can actually also be another resource for those that maybe don't have a YouTube channel that has a ton of videos yet. You can actually put other people's videos into your playlist. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to create different playlists on YouTube. You're going to add videos to them. And then when you customize your YouTube channel and you look to edit your YouTube channel, you're actually going to place that playlist wherever you would like. And that's how you see those different groups. But also it brings up a great point that knowing that just because you may not have a library full of videos doesn't mean that you can't be, helpful. Now, again, you're probably not going to be posting, competitors' videos, but there are most likely industry experts in your industry that you could make a playlist for and actually have their videos on there, so that your YouTube channel becomes, very similar to how you run your Facebook page when you post a blog article or an article about some new update in your industry that you didn't write, but obviously it's still super beneficial to your users. Well, the same thing can be applied here with playlists. So that's how we would kind of essentially do that. I've got a question in from Tammy. I've been playing with Facebook Live, and person versus business works differently with embedded code. How can I bring them to YouTube and edit? So you would actually have to download them in order to kind of bring them over to YouTube. There's no way to kind of, just kind of pull them over. You'd actually have to download them to be able to upload them to YouTube, because, YouTube requires that it actually is a certain type of file, and that's usually an MP4, an MOV, any type of video file. Any other questions? Okay. Well, again, I really want to appreciate you guys hanging in with us. I know we had a couple technical difficulties at the beginning. If there wasn't a question that you weren't able to ask or I wasn't able to get to, feel free to reach out. Obviously, you guys have my information here. Feel free to call, text, email, whatever it may be. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope that all of you guys, took something away. And we'll be looking to obviously stay in touch. Obviously, this has been recorded here, and we've got to do a little bit here since we had a little bit of technical difficulties. But we'll get this recording up so you guys can kind of review it and watch it again, whenever you would like. So again, I want to appreciate you guys all for tuning in. If you're tuning in now live, or if you've tuned in at a later point, we really appreciate it. Feel free to drop any questions into the comments and reach out with anything else. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. This is Nick Brown from Metro IBA. There's one more question about using Metro IBA as for the webinar versus Zoom. And actually,
Yes.
Metro IBA is an organization, and we are working on this platform, which is Click Meeting. So we're not a meeting platform or a webinar platform, but we're an organization that supports independent businesses. Zoom is more of a video conferencing situation versus a webinar situation. And so we have just always used Click Meeting in the past, and so are continuing to do that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? I know that I know we kind of, again, like ended the recording, so to speak, or whatever at the beginning there, or just a little bit a while ago. So Michelle, yes, there will be a recording for this, and I'll actually be sending this entire presentation out. I was just kind of waiting until the end of the recording to kind of say that. So anybody that may have attended here, you guys will actually get a copy of the presentation and the recording. We just have to do a little bit of work just because of some of that technical difficulties at the beginning. But yes, we're going to make sure that that's for everybody. Tammy, yep. So with Zoom, you just asked with Zoom, can you record yourself and would that be loaded into YouTube? So yes, so if you do a recording on Zoom, and we've actually had some clients, actually I did a webinar yesterday via Zoom and I got the recording and I'm actually editing it today and putting it onto YouTube. And so the other thing too is you could just do a recording like this. So if you just want to do a single Zoom and then record it, or like I said too, is you can almost do one of those like conversation style videos where you could have people join in at the bottom and be able to kind of have a conversation and everyone's kind of jumping up. So whatever you like, because as long as it's recorded and it's going to be able to be downloaded in a video file format, then it's going to be able to be again utilized for YouTube. So the short answer is yes. Awesome. Well, do we have any other final little questions? I know yeah. So if not, I also encourage you guys to check out, obviously with everything kind of going on, we're doing everything instead of workshops, we're doing webinars. And even before all this kind of stuff hit, we were already making a commitment to do more webinars anyways, to make it easier for people to engage with us and get the content that we give out. So just encourage you to kind of connect with us on our website. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can do follow us on social media, and we'll be doing more of these, and they're always free. So again, I want to say thank you guys all for coming, and you guys have a great day. Thanks.